Outside the gates of Eden, human survival became a matter of physical struggle. The soil, once yielding fruit effortlessly, now demanded the exhaustion of a person's body just to produce bare calories from the cracked earth. Into this environment, Adam and Eve's first two sons took on the foundational labors of humanity. Cain bound himself to the dirt as a farmer, while his younger brother Abel managed the livestock as a shepherd. For their parents, food had been a constant, but for Cain and Abel, every meal was a calculation of weather, physical limits, and the threat of starvation. They were the first generation to move from absolute abundance to absolute scarcity. When resources are scarce and labor is grueling, humans begin to look closely at what their neighbor has. This daily struggle for survival provided the psychological conditions for comparison and bitter competition. Eventually, both brothers presented a portion of their labor as a tribute to the Creator. The ancient text highlights a difference in the quality of these gifts. Abel selected the choicest firstborn, offering the most valuable parts. Cain brought a generalized offering. God looked favorably upon Abel's tribute, but Cain's offering was rejected. Cain's reaction was immediate. The text describes him burning with anger, his face falling toward the dirt, a physical posture of sudden humiliation. This is the anatomy of envy, a mixture of feeling slighted by a higher power while recognizing an undeniable inadequacy compared to a peer. Cain didn't ask how to improve his harvest or seek his brother's advice. He swallowed his shame. When humiliation is driven inward and left to fester, it often turns into something far more dangerous. Before any physical crime occurred, God intervened, questioning Cain directly about his darkening mood. The text warns Cain that sin is crouching at his door, an animalistic force waiting to consume the mind. God presents a choice. Its desire is for you, but you must rule over it. This requires active, conscious mastery to push it back. This introduces the concept of human agency. Cain's resentment is powerful, but it does not strip him of his free will. He possesses the authority to choose his reaction to his own anger. The presence of destructive thoughts is a standard part of the human condition. The crisis begins when a person stops exercising their agency and surrenders to those impulses. The story moves out to the fields. The ancient text is silent about any conversation between the brothers. There is no recorded argument, only a sudden, violent strike against an unsuspecting sibling. The physical exertion of the attack was followed by the permanent quiet of a body lying in the dirt. Soon after, the Creator confronts the killer, asking a seemingly simple question: "Where is Abel, your brother?" Cain's response is one of total arrogance. He answers, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" Looking the Creator in the eye and lying about a sibling's death shows a complete severing of empathy. To destroy another human being physically, a person first has to extinguish their own compassion. Cain's lie fails. God reveals that the voice of Abel's blood is crying out from the soil, exposing the crime to the universe. Cain receives a punishment that mirrors his crime. The ground was his livelihood, but because it drank his brother's blood, that same soil will now refuse to yield crops to him for the rest of his life. The sentence condemns him to be a restless wanderer. In the ancient world, being exiled from your family and losing the ability to farm meant losing all physical protection and community support. He chose to violently cut ties with his own family. His penalty is a permanent isolation from both the natural world and human society. Hearing this, Cain reaches a breaking point. Yet he expresses no remorse for Abel. Instead, he is consumed by paranoia, terrified that whoever finds him wandering the earth will kill him in retaliation. To prevent this cycle of violence, God places a mark on Cain. This sign functions as an eternal badge of public shame, while simultaneously serving as a shield against execution. Driven away into the land of Nod, the land of wandering, Cain constructs the first recorded human city. Stripped of his connection to God and the earth, he builds physical walls to compensate for his absolute spiritual isolation. The first interactions of humanity outside of paradise end in bloodshed. These events point to a recurring human truth. The most dangerous threat we face is the envy crouching within ourselves.